Patricia Van Haren, family law attorney. Am I responsible for paying my spouse's credit card debt if we get a divorce? California is a community property state. Therefore, each spouse is responsible for one half of the debt incurred, no matter whose name the debt has been incurred in. So, for example, if you have several credit cards in your name and you use those during the marriage on behalf of the community, your spouse will have to pay for one half of the debt incurred in your name. That's true of your spouse's debt. Now, what happens if your spouse was using their credit card to fund, let's say, an extramarital affair or a gambling addiction? In those circumstances, you may be able to seek that your spouse is solely responsible for that credit card debt, since it was taking away from the community and not adding to the community. It's very important that once you are filing for divorce, you run a credit report. That way you can see what credit cards come up in your name and possibly if your spouse has additional credit cards. Everybody is required to disclose all community property and all community debt during the divorce process. If you notice something shady on credit cards or there's a significant amount of debt that you were not aware of, you may wish to do what's called discovery, which is where you request historical statements from that credit card. You can then look through those and determine whether or not the debts were used for community expenses or day-to-day living, or if there's unreasonable charges on those credit cards. And it may be that your spouse was hiding money or filtering money elsewhere. We had a case where the husband had a mistress and he was purchasing very expensive gifts for this mistress. And we went through and we're looking at the credit card statements, and it was found that that was money transferred to a third party. This is a breach of your fiduciary duty to your spouse. So in this case, our client was not forced to assume the debts for her husband because they were used to benefit somebody else and were not legal transfers to a third person. So if you have any questions on how the courts will look at your credit card debt, shoot us over an email or give us a call. We'd be happy to answer those for you.